It's a great day to be a Coyote. Welcome, Coyote Nation, to another episode of Back the Pack Show, where we are going to be bringing you all of your favorite games, memories, and of course, discussions with our fellow Coyotes. As a disclaimer, we have no affiliation to the University of South Dakota. This is a podcast ran by fans for fans. The ideas and comments do not represent the university. Our opinions are our own. Be sure to find us on Twitter at BackThePackSD and join the USD Coyote Fans Nation page on Facebook. Last but not least, join the Howling Pack at www.goyotes.com. With that said, let's talk some Coyote football.
Well, and apologies to anybody that has dogs sitting next to the TV or computer after that one.
Man, I love that. I love that new soundbite with the Coyote howl. I don't know if it's going to sit at the intro permanently or not, but we'll find a way to use that.
Yeah, no, that was good. We'll have to figure out something. We're still tinkering. I got lost in my own changes going on, so I wasn't able to work on the intro like I was wanting to. But we'll figure out something.
Maybe some music or something. We'll figure it out.
We'll get professional eventually.
There you go. All right. So obviously we've got just myself and you, Jake, tonight. No Grant. He is in what was rainy San Diego, which is actually kind of rare for San Diego. He went there and it started raining.
How much do you think we annoyed him with our text messages today?
Probably a lot. Sorry in advance, Grant.
Speaking of dogs, my dog crept in, so I had to kick him out there. So.
There you go. All right, so welcome in everybody that's joining us live. We've got a couple already in here. Yote fan, if you're in here, give us a hello in the comments. We're waiting for you. Other than that, man, how you been? Obviously you weren't here last week. How are things?
Good. Actually, I do want to take a quick second. So last week I was not able to be on the show because it was Grandpa Larry's memorial. And so I had to travel down to Ida Grove for that. And then Friday was the actual memorial itself, the service. And I want to take this moment and just thank President Gestring, AD John Schemmel, Coach Nielsen. Geez, this list gets longer and longer. Ben Lecomte, Dante. No, not Dante. Sorry.
Noah
Shepard. Yep. And I'm probably missing a few others, but I was blown away by the number of Coyotes that were there. It was amazing to see. I truly appreciated them showing up. And then not only that, some, I know a lot weren't able to make it, but there were 3 different floral arrangements in the red and white up there. First one was from President Gestring and the students of South Dakota. The other one was from USD Athletic Association. And then the last one was from Grandpa's girlfriends, not to make Grandma jealous, but at Grandpa's old cabin up in Minnesota, he got to know some softball players really well. Funny enough, they were just exactly across the lake from him. And he was driving by in his boat one day and saw a Coyote flag waving. He's not a guy to pass up a conversation with a Coyote fan. So
stopped and talked to him.
Stopped to talk, and
that's awesome.
How he got some girlfriends on the Coyote softball team.
Very good.
But I was able to take the floral arrangement from the Athletic Association, and I mean, all of it was just beautiful. So a big shout out to everyone involved in it, whether they were there or not. The love was felt.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. And obviously, Grandpa Larry was a huge supporter of this show, and a big reason, we keep saying it, but a big reason that you wanted to do this, and big reason that you ended up at USD and a Coyote fan. So shout out Grandpa Larry, RIP, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Yote fan in here. Thank you, Yote fan, for giving us your comment. Love you, buddy. And for everybody else, welcome in. We're going to jump right in here to transfers. Just a quick update. And I actually forgot to highlight these, but we did have 2 new ones since last week join us. One of them was defensive lineman Nathan LePerry. He came from North Texas. I think that's the Mean Green, if I remember right. Their mascot.
Yep.
The Mean Green. Mean Green. And then obviously that's a FBS transfer down to us, which is fantastic. Nice size with him too, 6'3", 250. He's got 3 years of eligibility there, so that's awesome. And then the other one, I think, if memory serves me right, here was Jalen Bain Peterson, cornerback from Iowa Western Community College, 6'3", 190 with all 4 years of eligibility left. So, welcome to those two. We didn't talk about you last week because you're new to the list. So, Jake, I just because you weren't here last week, obviously too. But what are your thoughts now that the portal's closed? We know we have a handful of offers still out there, so there may be some more additions coming yet. But as far as people going into the portal, that's now closed. So it's just guys that are in trying to find spots still. Looking at this list, what are your thoughts? Just kind of overall high level.
We're almost done. It's going to be the easy way to describe that. I am feeling fantastic on everything that there is with this transfer portal. Per usual, the coaches knocked it out of the park, and I know we're going to have some high level competitors out there, whether they are starters or some backups. We're deep again.
Right.
I am really, really liking the D lineman additions. We got a nice mix of age. Some guys that are going to come in and play 1 year and just absolutely knock it out of the park. You know, they were coming in to be starters. But then you got the two coming in Jackson and Nathan. Some young bucks, some people that can follow the time with USD and stick it out through their, I'd say, entire career, especially with like Jackson. He got 1 year at Washington State and moved on.
Right.
That was the red shirt. He's ready to roll.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've done a nice job. And if you go back to last season, and this portal business was fairly new then, but if you look at who we added last year, if we can hit the same percentage of home runs that we did with those guys that we did last year with the guys this year, we're going to be in a really, really good spot.
So like 98.9%.
It was really, really good last year. And shout out to our guy, Coach Rosie, right? We got,
yes.
He's, and he was given the new title of GM. Is that right?
Yep. General manager.
Yeah. And so he's kind of he runs the show now, and he's obviously a big part of the recruiting and the transfer portal and scouting and all of that stuff now, which feels very much so like a professional organization, like an NFL team in that regard. And it's not just looking at high school kids anymore. It's looking at obviously guys that are in the portal. So, he did a really good job last year, and if he can hit that same percentage this year, we're going to be in a really, really good spot. But on paper, and looking at some of these guys' highlights, I think we're pretty happy with what we have here.
Yeah, like I said, I think we're done. We're looking really good. I really like their recent attack on the secondaries. I have never seen this much length coming in at the corner position.
Tall corners.
So, and as all of you know, I'm also an Iowa State fan. I follow very closely on that. And they just had a guy drafted that is a carbon copy of these two. Now, I have not had a chance to fully break down DJ or Jalen's film. So don't say I'm comparing them apples to apples by any means. But this length was a disruptor on the field. And I truly think, DJ getting a time at Michigan State to really work in that system as a P5 transfer, he's going to bring down a lot of knowledge, even though he's young.
Yep.
And Jalen,
his potential, by the way, his ceiling is probably, I don't know, as high as some of the best corners like the Miles Hardens of the world.
Yeah. It's really the one thing you have to worry about when you get a length like this at corner is their ability to dip their hips and follow the route.
Sure.
So that's one thing to watch, but obviously coaches have a plan because they're about the exact same, a 5-pound difference.
Yeah, and carbon copies there. Yep, real happy with that. And then I guess just on the offensive side, just one thing, Jake, we talked about this offline, but looking at we like where we're at with the O-line, but it'd be nice to have one or two more, right? Whether that's depth pieces or guys with starting experience, either way.
Now, I want to say this right now. The young bucks that we got on the O-line that are currently in the program that have 1 or 2 years under their belt.
Yep.
We got some dogs.
Yeah, we're real happy with the recruiting we've done recently, these last 2 years specifically.
Oh, yeah. No, so with it, I'm really looking at Grant Chapman, young guy that did not get a lot of time, but he's a name I've heard a lot.
Sure.
Another one, big fan of is Jacob Arope.
Yes, and he's young, but he was running with the ones in spring.
Exactly. I was biased going into it. He's such a great kid. Had fun, great time interviewing him in his transition from high school to college. But yeah, there's been a lot of photos him running with the ones at practice.
And the
That
highest recruit we've ever had, right? Highest rated. I think he was a
yes,
4-star, if I remember right.
yep, 4-star on 24/7 Sports. I mean, he had some big time offers. We had to fend off some colleges coming to sniff around some P5s, but
Yep.
he stuck with us. And then I like both the young guys that they brought in with Jacob in Crisp and shoot, I'm trying to remember the other one from Wisconsin off the top of my head. I can't remember him. I can't remember his name at the moment, but both these two, they're going to be great. So, I mean, we just named 4 guys and
Right.
we just watched 4 in your mind graduate per se.
Yep.
Maybe they left a little earlier than we thought they would, but they'll fill in. I do think we need definitely one, maybe a second O lineman added to this list.
Right. I think that's just kind of high level. That's where I'm at too. Just looking at a number from a numbers game, right? Just maybe 1 or 2 more, just because we did lose 4.
Yep. And then, I like to look at what we have on offense just as a whole here too. Anybody that's listening right now, you can mark this down in permanent marker. Dallas Holmes is going to be a household name this season. And he's not just going to be a household name for Coyotes. He's going to be a household name for everybody in the Missouri. I have a strong, strong inkling that he will be first or second team tight end on the Missouri Valley.
So since you brought that up, let's go there real quick. I want to just put these photos up here, the commitment photos, so people can see these. I'll get that out. Oops, my bad. My bad. Misclick. All right. So yeah, take a look at these. These are this is the beef that we added.
Mm-hmm.
Caden Crawford over there. He doesn't have a commitment photo, but you got Jeff Bowie and you got Jackson Cowgill, and then you got the O line down the bottom there, but the D line up top with Nathan as well. But you got Krim, and it just I don't know. I'm really happy with, if you look at this list, and even Smith at center. Just really happy with where we're at, even though I know we lost some key pieces. But and then same thing, I'll put up the kind of the skills guys here. You were talking about Mr. Holmes here. Check him out, top left.
There. Yes. So
we talked about him last week just with his sheer size. I mean, he is huge for a tight end.
Yeah, that 240, there is not, I don't know if there's an ounce of fat on him, honestly. He was very underutilized. So if you look up his stats it was Lafayette, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so if you look up his stats from there, you're going to be very underwhelmed. You're just going to go, what the heck is Jake smoking on this? But if you actually sit down and watch his film, the way this guy sets the edge is unbelievable. He wants to run through the dude that he's supposed to block. I am very impressed with his ability to find the open space on the field, and his speed, it's very underrated.
I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with him. He's just and he's a huge target too, right? With his height. I don't even know, what is he listed at, like 6'5"?
You wrote it down.
The heck, here, I'll go back.
Yeah, jump back to there you go.
Yeah, 6'5", 240. He's huge.
Yep.
Aiden's going to be real happy with that. And, even some of these other guys too, you look at, we've got the running back from West Virginia and Jalen Anderson. And one of our favorites there, I can make fun of his commitment photo here in the bottom left. We got Seatbelt Lewis down there.
Oh yeah.
And then the 2 corners that you mentioned, the lengthy corners. Just overall really, really happy with this group. Can't wait to see what they can contribute to the Oats.
Exactly. No, I'm really excited with Jalen Anderson too at running back. I'm really curious to see how they utilize him. This was not a knock on what we had in the running back room already. This was just strengthening it and reestablishing us as the number 1 running back room in the nation again.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week with KJL going down in spring, with the ACL injury. We kind of were expecting to get one, and we did. And I think we got a good one.
Yes. Now, don't compare him to KJL.
No. Totally different, and the build is significantly different there with him. But no, I think it'd be a three-headed monster now with Pierre and LJ and him.
And I'll say this too. I will not be surprised, and this is not a dig at Pierre because he's going to get starting touches.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be shocked if we start like Anderson or Phillips, beat the crap out of them for a couple drives, switch, hit them with whatever Anderson or Phillips, whichever one.
I
beat
mean,
the crap out of them some more.
It's not a bad thought because you saw us do that last year with Tyson Pierre, and
Exactly.
two very similar skill sets, but also different in the speed that they both present, right? And just the running styles were different. And so, and they're both very productive, right? I think they both went over 1,000.
Yes.
And so, to your point about the best running back room in the country, here we are again, just reloading and ready to go.
Hey, just so you're aware, that comment by me was said in June.
I remember.
And it stirred up the Twitterverse a little bit.
You got a lot of feedback on that, but I think in the end, I think you were right.
Spot on.
All right. Anything else on this, Jake? Any other thoughts before we move on?
I'm just going to complain about one commitment photo, and that's going to be our boy up in the top middle right. Old logo.
Yeah. So that's William Gronke from St. Thomas. What do we got going on here?
Now that does look very photoshopped. It's a very plain jersey, but I think we're all going to like this kid. If you enjoyed AJ Coons last year, we got a carbon copy of him.
Oh, big tall target. Yeah, we got to give him some crap for using the old logo. What do we got going on here?
We'll get it sorted out. We'll get him going.
All right. Moving right along here. Next topic. Yeah. We just want to shout out Nathan Swaffer from Mitchell Republic. We're not going to give everybody full access to his article because it is behind a paywall, but he did a nice piece on Nate Ewell this week. And so I just want to give a snippet here. But essentially, the reason I bring this up is in the era that we live in with the transfer portal, he basically says in this article, Nate does, is that, it was a blessing for him. He didn't want to take anything for granted. He wanted to be a Yote. He purposely chose to come back for another year after being granted that extra year with the JUCO rule, and really didn't even entertain any other offers, right, as far as NIL goes. And so just want to give a shout out to him and really the season that he had last year, right, coming from NAI, if I remember right. Wasn't it Grand Valley?
Yep. Yeah. So, he's an absolute dog, and he's going to be best remembered from last season. Obviously, we get him this season again too, but for ending the NDSU game, he's the one that put him down, put the Bison down. So
yeah, he made the final tackle on that flea flicker that seemed like it lasted forever.
Oh yeah, no, that was definitely cardiac coyotes going there. But I will say this, Nate, he's a dog. He's just getting after it, and I can tell he wasn't fully enveloped into the defense last season, so there were some miscues. I'm really, really excited to see what he does with this last opportunity because he didn't know this was coming.
Right.
And to get to do and play the game that you love and to be on a championship caliber team, he's going to play his heart out. And the sky's the limit for him. Shout out to Nate. We're going to love what he has this season.
Yeah, and you could see him really kind of coming on towards the end of the year. It took him a little bit, like you said, to kind of get a gist of things. But by the end of the year, I mean, he was really peaking. And then I just want to mention, too, for fans, so after the Montana State playoff loss, he did have a knee cleanup procedure. Nothing serious, but they did go in and clean up one of his knees. So he did miss spring. But as far as what information we've been told and what we've seen, I think he'll be ready to rock and roll here come fall camp.
Yes, I know. I'm pumped to see what he can do. And yeah, shout out to Nathan. He's such a refreshing journalist to have on USD side of things.
Well, so we went, I don't even know if it was, I don't know how many years it was, but we went a while without a beat writer. And so that was another reason for me wanting to bring this up tonight, was just a shout out to him because we finally have a beat writer. He did a really nice job covering us last year. He's been putting out some off-season content. So if you want to check him out, he's over at the Mitchell Republic, and I think that's like $1 or $2, I think, for 6 months for the subscription, and he's putting out like weekly articles. So I just want to give a shout out to him.
a very small paywall to it, but
Yep.
the articles are very much worth it.
Yeah.
There's a
Absolutely.
reason we give free content on ours because ours isn't worth it.
That's right. That's right. No admission fee here. All right. How about this one? Update from a couple pro yotes. I thought this was
Oh
cool this
yeah,
week. We got Jacko Cochran here and our boy Joey Lombard both hanging out in the Chiefs locker room at their camp.
that it's gonna be cool. So cool to see when this continues on because all of us here know Joey belongs in the NFL, and for him to get an opportunity alongside a guy that we all thought belonged in the NFL, but definitely had to make a name for himself. Who better
Yeah.
to follow the footsteps of?
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. Just a great landing spot for Joey, honestly.
Hmm.
I think, like Jack, the road's not going to be easy, but I think he has a really good chance at sticking. And speaking of Joey, I think he was also invited to the Saints camp, so he's going to be double dipping a little bit.
Yeah, either one. Saints are on the up and up. Chiefs, we all know, are kind of running the NFL right now. So
Yep,
whether we like it or not,
yep. Easy drive for us though to go down to a game, in Kansas City,
yeah,
catch these guys, maybe even in preseason. So I was down at a preseason game a year or two ago, and would love to go down and watch both these guys play. So yeah, that's kind of it for Pro Yacht updates. These two crossed over for 1 year in a Yotes uniform. It was the 2021 season where Jack was a senior and Joey was a redshirt freshman. So they did have that 1 year that they shared the locker room together.
yeah. I had to go and check. Unfortunately, Kansas City is not playing in Minneapolis. I know we got a lot of
Oh yeah,
around that area.
that's a good thought. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's always my go-to if I want to go see a Coyote play in the NFL. I check to
Yep,
see if they're playing in Minneapolis.
for
Close,
sure.
cool stadium, and Minneapolis is pretty neat.
Right on. All right, moving right along here. Let's talk. Give another shout out, even though we're not huge fans of his partner, Mr. Gary, who I don't. That's all I'm going to say on him. But no, this is Craig Haley, his partner over at FCS, the Stats Perform guys. This is two clips here. The one on the left is pre-spring portal rankings for the preseason, and then the one on the right is post-spring portal rankings. So I just want to kind of show where a national media member thinks the Coyotes are. He had us at 2, and then after the portal losses and additions there, he dropped us to 4 going in the preseason. Your thoughts, Jake?
So I'm okay with this. This feels like still a lot of respect and belief in what USC stands for, because if you are on the outside looking in, the coaching pieces that we lost were big. Nady's huge. Coach Hodge is huge. I was always blown away by those guys.
Right.
But this tells me he believes in Johansson and Aiden.
I mean, the quarterback. So he's the only. I think he's the only returning quarterback out of the top 5 or top 10 or maybe even top 25. Right.
I have to chalk Illinois State. That one will interest me. I know outside of that,
most of these teams have lost their quarterbacks. So
the top 5 for sure, all of them lost their quarterbacks. So
yep.
I don't know what Montana State did in the portal to warrant the number 2 spot. I know Incarnate Word.
Incarnate Word's been probably the busiest team in the portal. They've had a ton of and quality additions too at that. Not just in number, but in quality of ads. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I'm good with Incarnate Word being above us. I don't know what Montana State did, and maybe it's a little biased in my opinion, but
they have to figure out the quarterback spot, right? That's the biggest piece for them.
Yeah.
In losing Tommy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy is a Hall of Fame FCS quarterback. In the entire level, he was a legend in his own.
For sure.
That one's going to be hard to replace.
How about our our friends to the north? What do you think about that? After all they lost,
this is just
being in the top 5. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, you mean Brookings?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought we were talking about the Bison.
Oh no, I think they're talk about them for a quick second. I think they're probably deserving of that number 1 spot. They lost Jamar Brown, and their good defensive tackle Heisman or whatever the heck his name is. But
Judy Lyman.
Yeah, and then obviously Cam is a big piece, but
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have a quarterback battle, and if they figure that out, they're going to be the typical NDSU. If they don't figure that out, they're going to be very vulnerable. But knowing them, they'll figure it out. I wouldn't expect them to go anywhere.
To all the Coyote fans, pray that Cole Payton wins that quarterback battle.
Right? Maybe not as good a passer as the other guy that he's competing with.
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with his, and I can't remember what his name is, but I watched a few of his game clips.
Yeah, well, he
Last
played.
season.
He played last year. I can't remember his name either, but the guy he's competing with is a pretty solid passing quarterback.
Cole Payton is your typical quarterback that we've seen at NDSU. The backup, the guy he's competing with, is a pocket passer with
Right.
some legs on him to move. Will be interesting. But to the neighbors to the north, they lost a lot, but this is kind of a testament to winning 2 championships in a row and then recruiting really well.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Jackson, or no, that's a new coach. Jimmy took a lot of old talent that's going to graduate this year, anyways.
Between, what was it, 25 to 30 guys, somewhere in there?
I think, and that was in total because not all of them went to Washington State.
Sure.
But they've been doing a pretty good job on the portal.
They have to, give them their props. They have done a good job selling their brand and getting some quality guys in there from the portal. But I just questioned was the cut too high? How deep was the cut? Because you look at all the guys they lost. They lost a lot of starters, especially on defense.
And what's their quarterback? Chase, right?
Chase Mason. Yep.
I don't see it. Like, he's fast, but
for me, he's like Cole Payton, right? It's going to come down to if he can throw. If he can throw well, they're going to be good. But if he can't figure it out, it's and who's he going to throw to, right? Because they're a bunch of young receivers or inexperienced guys.
Yeah, well, and this tight end that they got was from Sacramento State, I think, is who he was a leader in their conference for for receiving yards amongst tight end. So, I mean, they got a really good guy there. And then I think a running back from Fordham, if I remember correctly, who was the leading rusher in their conference.
Yep.
So they got some talent. Their O-line is very young. Their defense is
inexperienced.
Inexperienced, yep. So I think the first game with Montana State
Sac State.
Don't they have Sac State?
Sac State comes to them, which is going to be a really interesting game, by the way, because of what Sac State's done in the portal as well.
Yeah, I mean, they moved up a ranking spot there. Sac State did. So,
and speaking of Sac State, real quick, they may not even be in the FCS when the season starts. There's a chance that they are in the FBS. That's still hanging out there with them, and they could be playing an FCS schedule but be in the FBS. So they wouldn't be playoff eligible. Is kind of why I bring that up.
So SDSU does play Sac State. That's who they open with. The next week, they're traveling to Montana State.
Wow.
So those first 2 games.
That's going to tell us a lot.
Yep. If they go to Montana State and they're just not competitive in it.
Sure.
I think there's going to be some red flags flying in Brookings. But if they find a way to make it competitive with a whole bunch of new names on both teams, then we can see some interesting rankings and a shakeup in it. For
sure. And I guess one other call out here is just a general comment. The Missouri Valley was pretty ravaged in the portal. Yes. And so I think, between the losses from the senior classes and some of these super senior classes still from COVID, that guys were six-year guys, it's going to be interesting this year. I think you might see the gap between the teams maybe a little bit closer than in years past. I think you may see a little more parity in the conference. Now, we had a guy who threw out on their podcast, the Blue Bloods, Timothy Rosario, said you might see a bunch of Missouri Valley teams with 4 and 5 losses where they're all beating each other. I don't think we're going to go quite that far, but I'm just saying I think the gap is going to be a lot smaller than in years past between kind of the top tier of the Valley and kind of that middle tier.
Well, and if you look at the rankings here, he had Youngstown, and obviously this is just Craig Haley's rankings himself. But he has Youngstown in before transfer portal, and then he has them out.
Right.
He threw Southern Illinois from nowhere up to 15th.
Yep. They had some nice ads at wide receiver in the portal.
They had great wide receivers last year though too, and we beat them 42.
Quarterback got hurt though. That was a big reason for them.
Yeah, but he was still pretty good, and heck, he transferred up even. So, I don't know. I think the Missouri Valley actually got weaker. I don't know where all
I think so too, and I think kind of across the board, right? So that's why I'm saying the gap between the teams might be a little closer this year than what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, you're not going to have 3 of the Final 4 in the championship.
I don't think so either.
In the playoffs as Missouri Valley again. But like I said, we'll figure out about who the bunnies are real quick. USD, we won't have a challenge until NDSU. If you look at FCS level, obviously Iowa State will be a tall challenge.
All right. If anybody has any comments on this, by the way, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll talk about it. Let's go to house settlement here. Kind of some updates from the NCAA. This one's interesting. So attorneys for the conferences and the NCAA have filed revisions to the house settlement as it pertains to roster limits. This has been a hot topic because the judge put a pause on the settlement, basically holding it up because they wanted to further discuss this whole roster cut thing with the 105 limit. So it's getting more messy by the day. So schools will not be required to grandfather them in, but they will be permitted in, is what they're proposing now and looking at is where they're going to land on this. So you can go above the 105. They're not grandfathering them in, but if a school wants to, they can permit these guys that would have been cut. Also, players could be eligible to be reinstated, but it would be up to the school. So this is where it gets messy, right? Because we've had guys commit to us and other FCS schools for that matter that basically we're told, hey, we don't have a roster spot for you with the new 105 rule. Would they be then eligible to turn around and go back? Or how does I guess I just have a lot of questions with what this means, if there's any impact for guys that have already committed elsewhere.
Yeah, so with it, I'm going to ask you one question. When your girlfriend dumps you and then 2 weeks later she comes back saying she's sorry and wants you back, are you taking her back?
I mean, probably not, man.
Especially after you found somebody else that makes you happy?
Right.
Yeah, it's all tough on this. I feel terrible for the kids that did get told, hey, you're not going to play. We don't have a spot for you. And now they're in the portal and they're just lost because rosters are filling up, all that.
And now it's getting even tougher, right? Because a lot of these guys have landed, so you're getting kind of nitty gritty on even just the guys that are still in, just trying to find a spot.
Exactly. Yeah, you're 100% right. And I do want to touch on Yote fans' question real quick, just a little off topic.
Go for it.
So Gase is with the Giants for a training camp invite. Yep. We have yet to hear anything on Holden as of now.
Correct.
So
which is absolutely ridiculous that Holden didn't, at a minimum, get a camp invite.
Yeah. And, I think he's in a fortunate spot if he really wants to keep playing to, if he doesn't get a camp invite, the AFL is going to be there for him. Obviously, they're running their season right now, so they're not going to be looking to roster additions right now.
Right.
But it gives him a chance to go out and prove himself even more.
And I mean, the CFL is always an option as well. But, that's obviously wasn't his goal.
Exactly.
But,
no, we're rooting for him.
Yeah.
We hope he gets something going.
Absolutely. All right, let's go another NCAA news here. This one's interesting. Talking about the 12 team or the 12 game regular season schedule and making that essentially finalized. So it has one piece left to go. The committee has to formally vote on this. Essentially, the council has to be able to permit it, but it's already been proposed. It's gone through kind of the revision committees. Like it says here, the oversight committee from Sam Herder here. But essentially, we're looking at locking in across the FCS 12 game schedule, which right now, there's a lot of teams that do, but there's some that don't. It looks like that's kind of where we're headed, is everybody's going to be playing 12 games.
Yeah, and my only question is, why haven't we?
Right.
Unless you have the answer right there.
No, this is just more from the NCAA, just stating what Sam kind of summarized there about the 12 regular season contests. and dates, and it looks like 2026 is kind of where they're looking to go with the change. We had 12 last year, we have 12 this year. But I guess as a fan, from a fan's perspective, I really liked having the 6 home games. I don't know about you. I assume
Oh yeah.
I assume you'll never say no to more football.
No, and I mean we're good enough. We're gonna have plenty of home games, but 6 is a lot. It's a lot of fun.
You know, I was thinking about that, and we talk about tailgate on our recent episodes and stuff. And by the time you factor in those 6, and then maybe a couple home playoff games, we're kind of getting spoiled with home games. And I'm not mad.
No, 8-0 last year.
That's right. On the 8-0 on the new turf, man. We've defended home turf, and we're gonna keep it going, keep it rolling this year.
Exactly.
All right. Last but not least, here we have new meat in the FCS world. We have the New Haven, Connecticut Chargers.
Don't drop the soap. Don't drop the soap.
Have moved up to from D2 to D1.
That's a heck of a jump.
And it brought back some memories for me because I lived through the transition while going to school at USD for us. So it's exciting. I'm happy for them. I'll see if I can. I have one graphic here. I'll see if I can put it up on the screen. But their stadium holds, I want to say, like 5,000, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But see if I can get it up here.
So I am gonna sit there and
blue turf.
Yeah. John Schemmel, AD John Schemmel, has the opportunity to do the funniest thing in 2026. We first go to Boise State. That's how we open the season. And then let's just jump on over to New Haven and just keep playing on the blue turf.
Hit all the blue turfs.
Exactly. Heck, Bunnies up north, you going to paint your field blue? We'll go 3-0 on it.
Man, speaking of colors and turf, we had an opportunity with the new turf last year to make that red.
I think Eastern Washington would have got upset.
Probably a little bit. But yeah, so there's I said new team into the FCS world. It'll be interesting to see because it's a challenge to get up and get going in D1. But wish them the best, and we'll probably see them down the road.
Yep, exactly. No, it's cool. It's cool to see some people coming up, especially. Oh, I guess we're going from one blue and yellow team to another with Delaware moving on. So
hey, there you go. That's
keep it up.
Yeah, it's not too bad. All right, we wouldn't be fans here if we didn't mention season tickets. Also, that deadline's quickly approaching for current season ticket holders. Right, we have till June 30th if you're a current season ticket holder to renew, and after that it goes to the general public. So if you want that same seat that you had last year, definitely do the renewal. And then if you're not a season ticket holder, what are you waiting for? The trajectory of this program, Jake, in the last 2 years is the best football we've seen in the D1 era, and we're set up to have another very successful season this year.
And I want to say shout out to the ticket office. Obviously, all this timing that I've had, usually just borrowing Grandpa Larry's tickets and
yes.
The whole situation. I did secure Grandpa Larry's tickets, so.
Nice.
Yes.
The legend lives on.
The first game is going to be very emotional, but I truly appreciate them working and making that happen. So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome.
We got Ray here bringing up the Iowa State game, and I am going to let everyone know, and obviously this will get better, or you'll get to know more details as it goes. I am actually very good friends with the owners of the Haunted Forest parking section. Now, for anybody that is an Iowa State fan, with it, that is northeast of the stadium on the other side of the highway that goes around it. And I will be posted up there. I'm going to see if we can get Mitch and Grant in there as well. But the back-to-pack flag will be flying. That is where you can expect to find me. I am going to give a huge shout-out to the folks of the Haunted Forest parking. It is a fantastic spot. Their pricing is very fair, so definitely check it out. If you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to DM the Back to Pack Twitter account.
So is this spot, Jake? Just thinking about it, is this going to be like a commingled tailgate? Well, I mean,
Oh yeah.
this is a pretty big Iowa State spot, I assume.
Yes, this is usually where I end up at, just so everyone's aware. It's such a fantastic area. I'm going to see if I can pull it up on the map so everybody can see it.
Sure. And I'm still kind of debating on ticket. Do I try to get the allotment through the USD ticket office, or do I wait for resale and look for an option there? And we talked about this without you last week, Jake. Was we're not sure where the USD visitor section is going to be. Is it going to be lower level or upper level?
So I'll show you both here. Actually,
Okay.
how's that sound?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm trying to get this set up so it's correct. Now, it's been a minute, so they might have updated a little bit. So yeah, there we go. All right, so
I can move. Let me get some stuff off the screen for you.
You're good. I'm going to present here so everybody can see. Share screen. All right, so this is an overview of the stadium, and I'm going to just click back to make sure. Yes, okay. So to start, it's going to be, you see these soccer fields here. This is going to be the haunted forest right there by that intersection.
Was that northeast corner, kind of northeast of the stadium?
Yep. So here's the stadium here. It's going to be on Jack Trice Way and University Boulevard. It's going to be in this area.
Okay.
Great people, great parking, and then the best part, if you haven't heard about the bridge of Iowa State, definitely check it out. It's actually a really cool bridge that they built. And it's fun talking to the Iowa State fans about it. I've walked across it. It looks really neat.
That's just a footbridge, right? That's just pedestrian traffic?
Yep, just a footbridge. It helps cut down on crossing this because I've stumbled across that road a couple times.
Speaking of footbridges, side note here, Cherry Street. Since I was a student, Jake, freshman year living in the dorms, I've been wanting a bridge over Cherry Street from the freshman dorms to the south so we can get to campus and forget that light, by the way. The one and only light there.
How are you supposed to get free tuition?
Get hit by a car?
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get free tuition. So you're just kind of that out.
Man, how cool would it be to have a nice little bridge there? It'd be so sweet. Or maybe an underground tunnel. Go down, go under.
Yep.
It'd be cool.
So last year, too, Iowa State did make some adjustments to the stadium. This actually, do you see my mouse on the screen?
I can, yeah.
Okay. So this section here used to be the away section.
Okay.
And they ended up actually
lower end zone corner there in the south.
Yep. So they ended up moving the students through this yellow to about here.
Okay.
And so with USD fans, we would be situated up here on the northeast corner.
Okay. So lower level?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, something cool that I think, if it's still possible, the Iowa State team comes out on this side because they will stand on this sideline.
West side,
USD, there's a building here. Let's see if I can zoom in and get a clear picture. So you can actually see they actually walk under the screen here. For those USD folks, line up right here. Bring your kids to this section right here. It is just a chest-high fence, and they will be able to stand right next to the Coyotes as they walk out onto the field, and they can give high fives and whatnot.
Is there just there's no barricades or anything to walk. You just walk through the grass there to get there?
These are grass. Yeah. So actually, that's another really cool thing that Iowa State does. This grass area on both sides,
people can sit there.
Ticketed. Yeah, these are ticketed spots. So you can get that. And that's for, anybody that has those kids that are 3 to 4. I honestly, Mitch, I'd pitch these tickets to you. Let little Quinn run around. It gives her a spot. And it's not a bad view of the field, actually. And this hill is pretty steep.
I'll say, I know I've never been there, but seeing it on TV, I know it's a little bit of a hill there.
And fun fact, they have updated the scoreboard right here. So you can kind of see 2 logos on both sides. It is a full screen all the way across now. Yep. And I cannot wait for them. Their very first game is us, and I can't wait for them to post their first L on it.
Let's go. You heard it here first.
And then, you know what? They can go 11-1, and I'll be happy.
Hey, it'd be the best of both worlds for you.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome, man. The excitement, I know we've been tweeting and stuff, but the excitement's building now, right? The roster's starting to cement, finalize. And so now it's kind of, with this week, it was pretty quiet because finals week. at USD, and then we go into summer break, but then you've got summer camps, fall camps, and we're right into the season. We are 114 days away from kickoff in Ames, so it's flying by, and summer's going to go just as fast.
Exactly. And this is something we haven't said in a long time. To anybody that is new here, before you leave, please subscribe and like the video so we can keep giving you the best Coyote content.
Yeah, absolutely. Smash that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up.
And if you're listening on the podcast, don't forget to follow along on Spotify.
Yes. So one thing for those of you that watch us on YouTube, this is an audio. Whatever. I don't even know the right word, but for the media, after we get done with YouTube, we rip it and it goes to Spotify. So if you want the audio only version of this, you can listen to it at any time. You can catch it on Spotify. Just search Back the Pack over there. And then if you want to come back and watch this, if you can't catch it live, obviously you can watch this episode back on YouTube as well. So appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. And catch us wherever it's most convenient for you. If that's not live, appreciate you tuning in whenever you can. And thanks for all your support for Coyote Athletics.
All right, perfect. Well, I can't think of a better way to end it, so we're just going to go with Go Yotes.
There you go. Go Yotes.